you guys have a unique perspective on it too, because as a co-op, you got things coming in and out the warehouse that you manage, so you get to see sort of what the consumer is doing through the eyes of your members and things like that as well.
Absolutely. Every member has different needs, the location they're in, what those consumers are looking for. So it is very interesting to see how different from store to store, what those requirements are, and the product that they need to bring in from our warehouse.
Welcome into the Independent Thinking Podcast. This is your host, Rob Stott. So much of this industry, the independent retail industry, you could look back at the history of it and, the amount of relationships and the way this industry is built on handshakes and who you knows and things like that. It's always impressed me, but it's always been such a crucial part of, the way this industry has grown and flourished and thrived over time. And I mean, you think about the groups like Nationwide itself and some of our partners. It's just, I mean, that's how business is done. It's who you know. It's the relationships you manage and maintain. And we've got some really great ones here at Nationwide that have been established or reestablished over the past couple of years. I look to, we've got our partners at Ozione and the rest of the CI channel with Oasis and Ellipsis. We have FEI out there that established a new relationship and a new foundation for Nationwide outside of just the home itself. And we've also got partners in the appliance space like DMI and what they're doing out there in New Jersey and in the Northeast. And that's where we are today. I took a trip recently being here in Philadelphia. New Jersey's not too far, just a stone's throw across the river to get to the DMI headquarters. And recently had the opportunity to sit down with Alan Joskowicz, the executive director there at DMI, and had a great conversation about the partnership and what members of DMI can, take advantage of with an NMG and vice versa. And then, of course, there are those that cross both sides of the fence, if you will, and are dual members of both organizations. So just a really great partnership that has a lot of benefits to both sides. And like I said, it kind of, fits with how this industry has grown and thrived over the years. And cool to see it continue to do so and just, kind of proves how important those relationships are and the partners we, keep and maintain and continue to go out and find here at Nationwide. So let's dive into it. This is a cool conversation, an on-site conversation with Alan Joskowicz of DMI here on the Independent Thinking Podcast. All right, we are back on the Independent Thinking Podcast, and I ended last season on the road. Now I get to start the new season of podcasts on the road. This is pretty cool. Mr. Alan Joskowicz, Executive Director of DMI. I had to cross the Delaware to get here, but, a little George Washington-esque journey the other direction, though. I think he was coming to Philly when he was crossing the Delaware, if I remember right. So I had to go the other way. But no, I appreciate you having me out here. Hamilton Township, is that right?
Yep. Hamilton
okay,
Township.
New Jersey.
Yep.
Executive Director, like I said, of DMI. Appreciate you having me in your office and diving into it with us today.
No, thanks for coming.
Yeah. So for those not familiar, just set us up. What is DMI?
DMI is an appliance cooperative.
Yep.
So we're made up of over 80 members. We are here to serve our members. Essentially, back in the 50s, 7 appliance stores that were working independently realized they needed to join forces when it came to warehousing, to buying power, and they created DMI.
Yep.
And we've been around almost 70 years now.
Okay. That for those familiar with the history of Nationwide, that should sound kind of familiar. It was 7 appliance dealers that came together in the 70s to do something similar. Appliance and CE, obviously, a broader scope of categories within Nationwide Marketing Group, but recently partnered up with Nationwide as well. So talk about that and the genesis for it and what gets you excited about, the opportunities of working together with Nationwide.
Yeah, so we were actually a member of Nationwide years ago, and you try new things, but we realized a couple years ago that it would be a good idea that we come back to Nationwide. We were very happy with the services there. We met with the leadership there, and we love all the opportunities that our members have by having access to everything that Nationwide provides.
No, that's incredible. What about I want to dive into you a little bit, your background. So tell us a little bit about your kind of career history and path to, being an executive director here at DMI.
So, I mean, I went to school for business and technology, and coming out of school, I actually started on the tech side of it. I was working at IBM and had a couple of jobs over the years, trying to see where I fit best. Most recently, before I came here, I was working at the Federal Reserve, and then found out there was an opening here to run the IT department. So I said, okay, it sounds pretty exciting. Ton of history with the company. I used to help when I was younger at the shows.
Okay.
So I already knew about DMI, I knew how it was set up. But this was exciting to have the opportunity to actually come work for the company. Had an interview with the president at the time, Vinny Capuano, who was the president, great guy. And he liked me. He gave me the job and the opportunity. And just saw so much growth possibilities with what we could do. Started on the tech side, of course. Completely virtualized our systems here, look for ways that we can enhance the way that we provide services to our members.
Yeah.
But then I had to learn about the business to do that.
Right.
And our treasurer at the time caught wind of everything I was doing. We met, and they promoted me to director of operations, started to task me to come up with better processes for other departments, start to build up the company. When I joined, DMI was basically accounting. I mean, we had our warehouse that was running great, and inside in the offices we had our accounting departments, but there was no real IT team. We didn't have an HR department, marketing. So started to build all that up.
Yeah.
And then when the current executive director at the time, who was George, he decided he was retiring in 2022, and I was very pleased to hear that the board was selecting me to become the executive director. So that was very exciting.
Yeah.
And been through a lot of growth at the company. We were in Brooklyn when I first started.
Right.
We moved to New Jersey back in 2014. And then most recently, last year, early in the year, we moved again. And for the very first time ever, our office and warehouse was split in 2 locations.
Yeah.
Scared the heck out of everybody.
It's the sense I got. But I also get the sense, and I will dive into it a little bit in a little bit, but that it's working out really well. Before we get to that, though, your time here, and advancing through those roles and seeing the evolution of the company, what kind of stands out to you, or what have you learned along the way, as you've advanced here?
I've learned a lot about the appliance industry and how unique it is. I worked in Big Pharma. I worked at the Federal Reserve, like I mentioned. There's kind of a standard, a lot of these companies, the way things operate, and coming to the appliance industry, it's very different.
Yeah.
Learning just what's important to our members, what they are expecting out of us. It's not exactly what you assume when you come and join a company like this. So I learned just how unique this industry is. It's also very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not like anything else.
Right. Trends-wise, you obviously you get a unique view of the appliance space. Is there anything from a trends perspective in appliances that you sort of gravitate towards, or that you're noticing?
So it's interesting. I feel like the trends change. We kind of go up and down between whether consumers are going for just doing upgrades, high-end product, or if it's distress. And a lot of times you'll hear people scream, okay, distress is the biggest part of our business. At one point it was 70% last year, but all of a sudden it changed again. And during COVID, everything changed.
Right.
I mean, people were coming in stores looking for an appliance. They didn't care what brand it was. They didn't care. They just wanted the piece. It was really interesting to watch that.
Yeah.
So what I learned is trends change.
Yeah, you guys have a unique sort of perspective on it too, because as a co-op, you got things coming in and out the warehouse that you manage, so you get to see sort of, what the consumer's doing, right? Through the eyes of your members and things like that as well.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to see, and everybody's different. So I have members that spawn from Brooklyn to North Jersey to South Jersey, even down in Delaware, and every member is different. Every member has different needs, the location they're in, what those consumers are looking for. So it is very interesting to see how different from store to store, what those requirements are, and the product that they need to bring in from our warehouse.
Yeah. to that warehouse. You know, we mentioned a new 80,000. Is that right? Square feet? Is it bigger than 800,000? I knew it started with an 8. I knew I was probably going to be off with that 80. 800. That is massive. But that's awesome, right? So like talk about that. Opened in March, May.
So yeah, we started moving early in 2024.
Okay.
And I want to say around March is when we were like fully inside.
Gotcha.
And it's a little cloudy because we were still kind of doing cleanup between the two warehouses through April. But yeah, no, it was a very exciting opportunity. First time we ever had cross-docking, which definitely helped speed up processes. And we actually took over 500,000 of the 800,000. We're subleasing the other side of that building. Okay. But the opportunity to take a brand new building in a great location. Yeah. They had a tax pilot set up there. So it just made sense. It made sense for our members. Yep. So it's been really exciting having such a great facility. There are no restrictions. We have 40-foot high clear ceiling. It's just we're able to operate the business the right way. Yeah. We don't have to touch merchandise multiple times to move things around. Mm-hmm. You can truly store the appliances properly and be able to plan for the future as well. Yeah, and bigger space as well from, I have to imagine, right? So you're able to store more and kind of, absolutely. You know, it never, I don't want to say never inventory challenges, right? But however, you know, knock on every piece of wood around everywhere. But, you know, a unique opportunity obviously as well for the members to have sort of that larger space to, you know, in addition to streamlining things and to your point of less touch points, to have more on hand, you know, and know that they can rely on sort of what you guys are doing. Absolutely. Any, like from a, you know, your technology background, I want to tap into it. At that warehouse, any technological sort of innovations that you guys are messing with over there or testing with? Yeah, so actually our entire system, back in 2014, we decided we were going to completely rebuild our internal systems. Okay. We were running off of a Lawson system, kind of an off-the-shelf, one-size-fits-all. And it worked, but we're far from one-size-fits-all. And what we needed, a lot of the companies I met with just couldn't do. So instead, we decided we're going to build this from scratch. Our backbone is something called FileMaker. We brought a company in to build the system from the ground up, exactly what we need, whether it's the programming we have to create, the way that we create our models in the system, and the way that we lay out our warehouse and run the system to find the merchandise for our guys who have to pick the merchandise. So the technology to help improve the way that you can put away and pull merchandise and do it more efficiently has been huge. Yeah. And the fact that we have our in-house programmers who are creating the system exactly that we need to use it. So tech is a huge part of the company. Yeah. It's helped us in a big way. Relying on third parties that think they can understand your business as opposed to you who are in it day to day. Correct. Now that's awesome. The space here now, I know we're about 10 minutes, I think, from where your warehouse is. Is that right? 10, 15 minutes, yeah. So I know it's also the first time you mentioned it, right? The first time you're kind of split from the warehouse. And, you know, there was nerves, as you mentioned, right? But you guys have grown into it and you know, talk about this space and having this office as well. So we were looking at building out the office in the warehouse like we always did. Yep. And talking to our president at the time, Andrew was saying, why don't we buy an office? We keep building these offices out in these warehouses, and then you move eventually because the lease expires, find a better facility. But the money you put into building that office, it doesn't really go anywhere. Right. It kind of stays at that building. They benefit, but we don't. So we took a look. I really couldn't find anything. The market was not great, even though office spaces should have been cheap. During COVID, right? I couldn't find anything good. Went back to him and said, I can't really find anything. He said, try again. Okay, fine. Round 2. And I looked at some pretty interesting buildings. And then out of nowhere, we were really getting ready to commit to a building out in Princeton Junction. It would have been a complete renovation. It would have taken months to get in order. And I get a phone call from the broker and says, hey, we got a spot right in Hamilton Township. It's a little smaller than what you're looking for, but we think it's going to fit what you need. Came and saw this building, looked around and said, this will work. And very, very little bit of renovation to get this building up and running. And now we have a space that we own as a company. Yeah. If we need to move our warehouse again, I don't have to build out the office. I don't have to put the expense in moving my server room, my equipment, everything that comes with that. So it's a huge cost savings to the company
Right.
long term. And also, instead of putting money into a build out that really leaves me with nothing,
Right,
I
right.
put money into what's now an asset.
Right.
So huge on a financial aspect.
Yeah.
But also, it helps to get talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has really helped us get some of the best that we can bring into the office to run accounting, to run our marketing, and so on and so forth.
Is there truly a lot of back and forth between office and warehouse at the end of the day?
There is, but we're able to do it mostly via technology, whether
Right.
it's phone,
Right.
email. We kind of split the load because there's paperwork that unfortunately we're not fully paperless yet.
Right.
But we kind of share that responsibility with folks at the warehouse bringing things over to us, and we go to visit them. So we're pretty still connected in a good way.
Yeah.
But it hasn't, people are very worried it was going to put a rift in the way that we communicate. And I think that once we got past that initial few weeks, it's gone pretty smoothly.
Well, I want to transition a little bit and talk about, the connection with Nationwide, and we talked about why you're excited about, the partnership and what it brings for your members. What for them, being connected to Nationwide and having access to certain services and things like that. What are some of those big opportunities that you would tell them about, up front?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of our stores, they don't have a big team. They don't have a big staff. You're talking about some of these stores have maybe 5-6 people, and their focus is on selling product. But how did they get the data to know what they should be selling? What is their marketplace calling for? That's something that Nationwide provides, right? You guys are doing all that work and getting it together, and it really helps our members to floor plan better.
Right.
They wouldn't have access to that otherwise. They wouldn't have the wherewithal to get that type of information. So that's huge. Marketing support is big.
Yep.
Again, something that you guys have done a great job working on, and our members can benefit from that.
Right.
Instead of paying a lot of money and having in-house marketers. Consumer financing is a big part of our members' business.
Yeah.
How do you get the appliance in a consumer's home today?
Yep.
And unfortunately, not everyone can walk in and just drop $1,000 on a new fridge. But with consumer financing, they can get what they want, and it can be affordable.
Yep.
You can't do that without the backing of a company like Nationwide. All of that makes our members so much more powerful.
Yeah.
For me, the overall thing is it makes our members stronger, being part of Nationwide.
Yeah.
It's just great.
I want to go back to that point on data because, hearing you talk about it, not that our members need to be constantly beat over the head with it, but I also feel like it's one of those things that if they're not hearing about it, they need to hear about it. They should be hearing about it because what you're referring to is our Primetrics platform. So for Nationwide members watching or listening, that's the data platform of Nationwide is leveraging for those that opt into it. Free program as a member, and obviously for your members as well, free to access. But opting into that platform, allows you to get access to tools like the assortment ART. It's shorthand referred to, but the assortment rationalization tool, which is one of the one of my favorite to talk about, right? Because it's like it takes you think about buyers from years past and having to rely on their gut and what they think is moving in the market. Or with down to their zip code, right? Like the access to zip code data
Priceless
of what's
information.
Exactly. So like to make sure you have the most efficient assortment, right? In the name, the most efficient assortment on your floor, right? So it's taking all of that guesswork out, which is a huge benefit. You talk about all the efficiencies of having a space like this and what you guys are doing. That's exactly what it's about, which that's awesome. And I didn't want to gloss over it or have you gloss over it.
No, shared resources. You're pulling it together or working as a team.
Yep.
And you're getting data from all of these different independent appliance stores.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. The independent retailers, we're working together to do more for our consumers, something the big boxes are not doing. We're working as a team to provide best services to the consumer. Yeah,
it's that best practice sharing and idea sharing just on a very formal basis with data, right? It's just in a different format. And, we always talk about that as being one of the biggest benefits of being a part of a group is you've got peers coast to coast that you can access, or with DMI, tri-state area? Or
Yes,
what, just
correct.
PA, Jersey, Delaware?
Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Delaware.
Gotcha. So this area.
And we're jocked for position for as new members are coming into the marketplace.
Yep.
It's a great industry to be part of. And where we're located right off the turnpike, it really opens up opportunity for members in the entire tri-state area to tap into our resources. Exactly.
So it's all about, having the collective power of the group, right? And leveraging that. So, no, it's good stuff. I enjoyed getting to pop over here and chat with you, Alan. And, I just look forward to seeing this continue to grow, man. It's awesome. And, to get an Eagles sign behind us in the middle of we had to. I know we'll close with that, but, go Birds for sure. Are you from Philly? Or are you?
I'm not actually.
No? Okay.
I'm actually from New York.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Lived in Jersey most of my life.
What's going on here?
Huge Eagles fan.
That's awesome.
Since I've been in high school. And, listen, it's been a great year. I'm excited for them.
No, that's awesome.
Hopefully they do well.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate it. And, I look forward to continuing this tour. And like I said, just watching this partnership grow. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very exciting time for us working Nationwide. We have a new program with Nationwide, the Buy program, where Nationwide members can actually join as a DMI member to bring in brands that they don't have access to currently and utilize our large variety of brands that we already have in our warehouse. So that partnership is enormous for us. We're really excited about that, and we're looking forward to growing with Nationwide.
Absolutely. And a lot of good things ahead, so we look forward to it as well.
Likewise. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely. Anytime. Awesome. And thanks again to Alan, like I said at the top, taking the time, inviting me into their home, and even giving me a little tour of the warehouse there, which was pretty cool to, be able to see their new facility and, just how massive it is and what they're able to do within it. And just a cool experience for myself, and, awesome as well, the opportunity and the partnership that exists between DMI and NMG. So appreciate him taking that time. And as always, appreciate you listening to the Independent Thinking Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.